Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dungeon Dive, and welcome back to Advanced HeroQuest. Sorry about the audio quality in that last video. I am super bummed out that a video that I really liked turned out so poorly on the audio front. My mic wasn't fully plugged in, and so I was only picking up the audio on my phone's mic, and it really sucked. So hopefully this one is much better. So in this video, this is going to be a quicker video. We are going to start a small little mini series on a let's play of Advanced HeroQuest. But what we're going to do is just kind of introduce ourselves to the characters that I used on the game that I ended before the last video I did. So these 4 characters have survived one dungeon. We're going to go back to town, do a little bit of upkeep, and we're going to determine what our next quest is in this video. So the warriors, the heroes that I'm using are actually the base warriors that came with the game. So we have the dwarf, Sven Hammerhelm. All right, so that's him right here. And then we have the warrior, Heinrich Lewin. And that is this dude here. And then we have also the wizard, Magnus the Bright. He is a bright wizard. And then we have Trallian Leafstar, and he is the elf. So those are our 4 warriors that we're going to be playing with. Now, in the last dungeon they went through, pretty low on gold. I only found 110 gold total. So that is only going to be about 27 gold each. And I found a potion of strength and chain armor. Or chainmail. So I went ahead and gave the new set of chainmail to the dwarf. So both the warrior and the dwarf are now wearing chainmail. And that actually brings the dwarf's toughness already up to 10. And Heinrich's is 8. So that's actually pretty cool. He is already pretty super tanky. And he will hopefully be able to survive more. And I gave the potion of strength to the warrior. So the in-between expeditions phase in Advanced HeroQuest is pretty basic. It's not nearly as robust as Warhammer Quest ended up being, or as something like Shadows of Brimstone. You can upgrade the number of fate points that the heroes have. So the heroes start with 2 fate points. And like I said, fate points are just a way to negate a bad thing that happens. So they can, if they take a lot of damage, they can use that to negate all the damage from one hit. They can use a fate point to make a missed roll, a hit roll, and so on. We all start with 2, and depending on if you go into a dungeon and you conquer a major quest, then you kind of get to level up your fate. Or it depends on, you can also buy extra fate points with gold. So, but when you go back to town, you just follow this simple little chart here. And so discard unused dungeon counters. So we did that. Recover fate and wounds. So everybody's, again, is at 2 fate. The dwarf has 5 wounds total. The warrior has 4. The wizard has 3. And the elf has 4. So we're fully healed. We are dividing up treasure. So we did that already. We have to pay our henchmen and cost of living expenses. So I don't have any henchmen. I'm just playing with the 4 warriors. Personally, I don't like hiring henchmen, just because I don't like having to control like that many characters on the board. I guess if it gets really difficult, I would hire some, but usually what I would do is if I'm only playing with 2 heroes, I would augment them with 2 henchmen. So we're going to try to just play our 1 dungeon with just the 4 warriors. Okay, then we have to roll for random events. So first up, we have to pay our cost of living expenses. So to live in this world, it costs 10 gold crowns plus 5 for each fate point. So that's going to be 15 total. So that's going to be 60 total. Okay. So that doesn't leave us with very much gold. It actually leaves us with not enough gold really to do anything in this first town stay. But one thing we do have to do is we do have to roll on the random event chart to see what happens to our heroes in town. And we need to roll 2d12 for that. All right, 16 or 19, sorry about that, 19. Risk money. For each henchman who died on the last expedition, all henchmen currently in employment with the heroes demand an immediate risk bonus equal to their pay. They get hazard pay. You must pay or lose them. All right, so we don't have any henchmen, so we don't have to pay extra. They are essential employees, right? Give those essential employees a living wage. In this game, the henchmen are cannon fodder. So, all right, so we don't need to worry about that. Spend gold on training, equipment, spells, and spell components. Now, the 2 rules that we're playing with from the Enhanced Advanced HeroQuest are these updated spell rules and updated rules on retrieving ammo. So this version of the game makes it much easier for the wizard to cast spells. Basically, they can cast 1 spell per turn with a total of 3 in a single combat. If you want to cast more than that, there is a chance that they get these tremors in the warp. That the warp that they're drawing their magical energy from actually kind of attacks them, does negative things to them, and you can outright die if you cast too many spells. So you don't really have to worry about components, because in the regular game you had to only have like 4 components to start with, and each spell used a number of components. Once you were out of components, your wizard was basically useless. So what components do in the enhanced version is if a spell needs 2 or more components to cast, then that means that the wizard can't move and cast a spell on the same turn. He can only cast a spell or move. If a spell uses 1 component, then they can move and cast a spell as normal. So we are playing with those rules, which makes the wizard a little more powerful. I might change that to where like he can only cast each offensive spell once or maybe twice, something to lessen his power a little bit. And then we're also playing, normally it was very hard for the archer to retrieve arrows. In the enhanced version, they've made it easier to retrieve arrows. So when you use an arrow after the combat, if you roll 4 or more on the D12 for non-magical weapons or ammo, you can recover that ammo. And so our elf archer did fire 1 arrow, but I did recover it. So he's at full ammo. We have very little gold. I don't think we're going to worry about buying. I don't even think I could buy like some rope, possibly some iron spikes, which my wizard already has iron spikes and a rope. So I don't think we're going to be spending any money. I can't train right now at all. Not going to be buying any new spells. I'm pretty poor right now. The last dungeon I went through was very stingy on the gold. And I'm not going to be hiring any henchmen. So we are done in town. I would like to search to see if maybe there are some more robust settlement events and things to do. Maybe somebody has made something up like that. But now comes the fun part. We are going to roll up to see what kind of quest we're going to go on our next adventure. So we go to the plot generating table and we roll a d12. So that is a 3. Retrieval. Okay, somebody is sending us on a fetch quest. So retrieval quests. My friends, there's a demon lair within the hills, allied with the terrible forces of chaos around. This is the weirdest. Okay, I think there's some words missing in my copy of this. It has taken the magic casket of the wizard, Erich von Stankubler, from his tower, and within that casket is the magic which protected us from the other chaos. Are there any heroes brave enough to stay the dread demon and bring back the casket? So retrieval quests are fairly similar to rescue quests, except that the heroes have to find and retrieve a particular object. The quest for the shattered amulet, that's the main quest in the base game, is a good example of that. So the GM may choose to be fiendish in how he places the object within the quest room, but we're not playing with a GM. The heroes can't exactly miss finding the princess in a rescued quest. Trying to find a small token amulet, however, or a small stolen amulet, however, can be a much trickier business. A roll on the retrieval quest table below will determine the nature of the item to be retrieved and the reward. All right, so we are doing a retrieval quest. Write that up here in our journal. So this is quest number 1 we're going on. And let's see what we are trying to retrieve. 10. We are trying to retrieve a magic casket. How appropriate. All right, so we're trying to retrieve the magic casket. And that is going to give us 150 gold crowns for a reward if we do so. Okay. So let's see here. Magic sword, magic treasure, magic casket. Contents. All right. The inhabitants of a small village the heroes are passing through are in despair. They collected funds to commission a wizard to produce a magical beacon, which would prevent the monsters in the area from approaching within 3 miles of their village, so they could live their lives safely. These monsters will be the Skaven, orcs, etc., as you have determined from the dungeon monster table. We'll have to roll to see who we're going to be going up against. They also paid for some minor magic, determined this with a d12 roll from the table below, for the defense of their village. They spent all they had, and they are now penniless and defenseless. They beg the heroes to recover the casket and deliver it to them. The casket will contain a red lensed lantern, the beacon, and a magic treasure determined by the roll on the table below. There will also be a treasure chest in the quest room in addition to the casket. The heroes get to keep the item rolled on the table and any other treasures they acquire in the dungeon. All right, so let's see what we get to keep. 5. 2 magic potions. All right, so if we discover the casket, we will get to keep 2 magic potions. And then there is also a treasure chest and the quest room. And we will determine what the quest room is when we find it. And now let's see here which monsters we're going to be fighting. 2, Skaven. All right, well, I've got plenty of Skaven models, so that's going to be a Skaven dungeon. Okay, so the heroes went back to the village. They rested up. They paid their living wages. They didn't hire any henchmen. They were too poor to buy any new gear. And that night at the tavern, a group of weary and tired-looking village inhabitants approached our small band of hapless heroes and told them about their plight, their missing casket that was helping them stave off all of the Skaven from their village. I guess like the Skaven had been digging tunnels underneath their village and are been coming up, and so the villagers, they pooled all their money together and had a wizard create this magical contraption that would repel the Skaven, just like the Orkin Man does in our world, to repel the rats from our homes. And so we need to go back and we need to find that Skaven repelling magic casket for these villagers. And that is where we will pick up in the next episode. So I hope you enjoyed this introduction, and we will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.